event. We're going to be honoring our chairman, Omali Yeshitela, leader of the African nation. Some of you may know him by the name Joe Waller, but we call him the chairman. And, you know, he's been for over 60 years in service to our struggle for Black power and African liberation. And we in the Uhuru movement, we refer to him as the last man standing. After surviving the defeat of the Black Revolution of the 1960s by the US government, you know, after the many assassinations, the imprisonment of our leaders, as well as the destruction of our organizations, and even after having faced political, physical attacks from the police, assassination attempts on his home, jailings across Florida, including over the racist mural that hung in St. Pete, Florida City Hall until 1966, where Chairman Omali bravely, as a then member of the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee, SNCC, tore the mural down. He tore it down. Despite the attacks he faced, he doubled down on his commitment to the freedom of our people, to African people, to all people, registering Africans to vote, organizing JOMO, and creating our own political party in the form of the African People's Socialist Party, of which I'm a member of, traveling the world to build support for our struggle and uniting our fight for colonialism from South St. Pete all the way to South Africa. Our chairman, Omali Yeshitela, who's shown the greatest commitment, the fiercest determination and discipline to really ensure the future of Africa, our Africa, and African people will belong to us. And because of this, he's being attacked in this period by the US government, and they're threatening him with a 15-year prison sentence at 82 years old on bogus charges of being a foreign agent for Russia. Yeah, and so this event is where we're going to celebrate his 60 years of service, which proves that not only are these charges bogus, but they're attacking him because he's never stopped fighting for our people. So tonight we not only celebrate our chairman Omali Yeshitela, but we're committing to fight like the chairman Omali Yeshitela. We're going to keep fighting back against these bogus charges, and we're going to demand that these charges be dropped. And that's why the Hands Off Uhuru campaign is sponsoring this event that you're at tonight. So throughout this evening, we're going to ask that you support this campaign by committing to attend the trial that's beginning September 3rd this year. Come to the march and the rally on August 31st and donate to the Legal Defense Fund. This is the single most important trial that's happening in this country. It threatens the rights not only of the chairman, Omali himself, but of the free speech right for everybody. And tonight we have a goal of raising $5,000 towards the legal fees, and you can kick us off by donating now in this room, or you can go online at handsoffuhuru.org. And we say drop the charges on the Uhuru 3 and defend the right of freedom of speech. So tonight you're going to be hearing some really moving tributes in honor of Chairman Omali Yeshitela. We'll have some cultural performances, and most of you are already smacking, and I can smell the delicious dinner that's prepared again by Miss Rosalind Kearney of Glam Catering. So to start, let's all stand, please, for the African national fight song, Uhuru.
This is the SGI.
billion strong, yes, we are one. We are winning. Red, black, and green for you and me. We are winning. Won't stop the fight till we are free. We are winning. African workers, we must unite. We are winning. Against white power, the parasite. We are winning. Long live the liberation of our African nation. Freedom through organization. Socialist world of creation. 1 billion strong, yes, we are one. We are winning. Viva Haiti, who first set us free. We are winning. Carry the torch of Jean-Jacques Dessalines. We are winning. Who peut-être, who les cailles. We are winning. We will rejoice when the colonizers die. We are winning. Long live the liberation of our African nation. Freedom through organization. Socialist world of creation. 1 billion strong, yes, we are one. We are winning.
Uhuru, we are winning. Uhuru, I love that song. We will win. We are on the Uhuru process of the some of his one of the chairman's relatives. How many generations is this in this room? It's like 4 generations of revolutionaries in this room. And, you know, I really want to, I'm a member of the African People's Socialist Party. I'm in the Southern region, and I work as a technical specialist as well. And I really want to extend my deepest gratitude to you, Chairman, for such exceptional revolutionary leadership and really teaching me what it means to have a family and what family means, what camaraderie means. And I think that growing up as what they call an Uhuru baby, growing up as, you know, an Uhuru baby, it really helps you understand the definition of family. When you are a member of the African nation, your world grows exponentially, and you start to see African people as family, as comrades. And it's not an idealistic, subjective view of family, you know, but it's acknowledging that when you see Africans and they say, "What's up, cousin?" It's acknowledging, you know, that we understand that the colonial process disrupted the family. And so we are committed to rebuilding the idea of organization through family, through camaraderie, and that happens within the African People's Socialist Party. And it's this type of leadership that I've really come to understand is more impactful. It's been the case for me, at least. I remember hearing the stories of even meetings going long into the night in Oakland, and the Uhuru babies gathering and organizing our own meetings, and then coming into the adults meeting saying, "We want to go home. We want to go home." And if you've been in an organized meeting, you know the situations we're facing. These can go all night. So at an early age, I was learning what it means to struggle and organize so that you can make the change that needs to happen. Well, to keep us going, I'm going to introduce my comrade and mother. I call her my momrade, as well as the daughter to Chairman Omali Yeshitela, Kenya Yeshitela. Uhuru.
Uhuru! Free the Uhuru 3!
Free the Uhuru 3!
Not one step backwards!
Not one step backwards!
Forward to a long, hot summer! Uhuru! Uhuru! I'm really honored to be here. When the chairman talked about the 60 years, I think he just put my age out there. But anyway, I really want to echo some of the sentiments that Jane of us, talked a little bit about. But I want to tell you a story, a love story. I think we don't talk enough about revolutionary love. And I think the commitment, the relentless struggle to really have a father, a parent, a comrade who is willing to put their life on the line for your freedom and independence, for the legacy of not just your children, but all children. To say that every day when I wake up, I got freedom on my mind. And what that looks like. You're in the building in terms of how that manifests itself tangibly. The burning spear, how that manifests itself tangibly. I've always grown up with this revolutionary love. I wasn't able to identify, don't get me wrong now. I still had those influences, those bourgeois influences. Why you didn't come to the basketball game? Why every time you take me to the fair, you keep talking about capitalism? I just want to play the damn game, right? But always constantly struggling for me to be better, for me to understand what my role is. Because to whom much is given, much is expected. And we have a responsibility. I too am a member of the African People's Socialist Party. I work under the leadership of Chimurenga Selambao and the office of the chair, Omali Yeshitela. I'm extremely proud and grateful. Some moments, even for him, it's difficult when you say, "I love you." I sent him a text the other day and I said, "I love you." He said, "What's going on?" What's happening? What's happening right now, right? And I said, why can't we just say that we love you, right? Because every day that you wake up, you say that you love me. You're leaving a legacy behind, not only for me, but for all my cousins in the room. What's up, guys? For all my family, as Jainaba talked about. And I think, as my comrade, Chairman Omali, come dad. I really want to salute you. 60 years through all the shit that you've had to endure, even with us as your children. But more than that, just to really say in front of the community that I love you. And I appreciate every day that you wake up and you continue to make this fight for my life to be better, for our family's life to be better, for all the families' lives to be better. Uhuru. Uhuru.
Uhuru. Thank you. Can I be heard? Yes? Okay. Thank you for that beautiful tribute, Momrad Kenya Yeshitela. Before we have our next tribute, let's take a look back at one of the chairman's most powerful and popular presentations. This was one of many profound speeches that many have heard, most likely on Dead Prez's album, Let's Get Free. And this introduced people to the chairman and the theory of African internationalism. Roll clip.
And now they put the crack cocaine, they put the crack cocaine in our community, and it demoralized the African workers and poor people who are the heartbeat of the revolution. Let me tell you that. That's where the revolution is. And when they did this to the young African workers and poor people, then we saw all these other so-called Negro leaders who would come up attacking the community. The problem was the community. We need to atone. We need this and that. It wasn't that the government was the problem. It was the people who were the problem. And so we had to struggle against this concept that was out there, even among the African working class itself. Because what we found is that the people who were out pushing crack cocaine often thought it was their idea that they were doing it. They thought, I'm out here doing this because this is my idea, but it wasn't their idea. What the imperialists, the capitalists, what white power had done was take away all the other options and say, if you want to live, this is what you can do to live on, and put crack cocaine there. I'm not a hunter, but I'm told that in places like in the Arctic, where indigenous people sometimes might hunt a wolf, they'll take a double-edged blade and they'll put blood on the blade and they'll melt the ice and stick the handle in the ice so that only the blade is protruding, and that a wolf will smell the blood and wants to eat, and it'll come and lick the blade trying to eat. And what happens is when the wolf licks the blade, of course, he cuts his tongue and he bleeds, and he thinks he's really having a good meal. He drinks and he licks, and of course he's drinking his own blood and he kills himself. That's what the imperialists did to us with crack cocaine. You got these young brothers out there thinking that they're getting something that they're gonna make a living with. They're getting something they can buy a car like the white people have cars. Why can't I have a car? They're getting something so they can get a piece of gold. The white people have gold. Why can't I have gold? They're getting something to get a house. The white people have a house. Why can't I have a house? And they actually think that it's something that's bringing resources to them, but they're killing themselves just like the wolf who's licking the blade, and they're slowly dying without knowing. That's what's happening to the community. You with me on that? That's exactly and precisely what happens to the community. And instead of blaming the hunter who put the damn handle and the blade in the ice for the wolf, that what happens is the wolf gets blamed for trying to live. That's what happens in our community. You don't blame the person, the victim, you blame the oppressor. Imperialism, white power is the enemy. Was the enemy when it first came to Africa, snatched up the first African, brought us here against our will, is the enemy today. That's the thing that we have to understand.
Chairman, did you recognize that? I was trying to pick up on it.
Uhuru, white power is the enemy. Still is the enemy today. It's one of our favorite lines. Our next tribute comes from a longtime member and supporter of the African People's Socialist Party, follower of Chairman Omali Yeshitela, and someone who stood on the front lines during the 1996 rebellions of St. Pete to defend this community. Comrade and Tomboy Bekizita. Uhuru.
Uhuru. So that piece, Wolves, as James said earlier, that's an excerpt where they used it in Dead President's album, Let's Get Free. And it's a piece that the chairman did at a Black Power organizing conference in Philly, I think in 1998. This piece has always been an inspirational piece to me. And understanding that the conditions that Africans and other oppressed people have been subjected to, these are conditions they have been imposed on us, and the responsibility to overturn these conditions are ours, though. It's our responsibility. The African People's Socialist Party, led by Chairman Omali Yeshitela, is the vanguard of the African Revolution, the vehicle that is leading the people to freedom. I am honored, truly honored, comrade. You know what I mean? Comrade. To stand before you, you all in pay, you tribute. truly. To one of like the greatest sons of Mama Africa. Man, you that. You that. A giant among giants. And if he knows it or not, right, there's a reason I am who I am today. You truly saved my life. Comrade, you saved my life. And you made it possible, like, through my life, and made it possible through the party, giving folks like this opportunity, like to redeem them damn selves, through all the contradictions that lie in our lives and things that we've gone through and experienced. Because I have had a lot. And when I say the chairman and this organization is what saved my life, it is truly what saved my life. I would have been dead or in prison for the rest of my life. And had it not been for the party, the theory of African revolution, African internationalism, to help ground me and understand the world as it is and why things were happening in my life and around me. I thank you, comrade. I thank the party and the theory of African internationalism for taking like this little budding flower, right? This little budding flower and transforming her into a tree as solid as oak. You hear me? She is our baby. She our baby. You hear me? She our baby. And in closing, my family loves you, comrade. My family loves you. And we thank you for your relentless efforts in fighting for us to see a liberated Africa. Freedom in our lifetime. Freedom in your lifetime. Uhuru.
Uhuru. Uhuru. So the next tribute section is themed solidarity tributes, and it'll be given by Penny Hess and by Jesse Neville. Penny Hess is the chair of the African People Solidarity Committee under the leadership of the party and the chairman, who in 1976 heard the chairman's call to white people to build solidarity with the African Revolution behind enemy lines and made the commitment ever since. She embraces the theory of African internationalism and has come to represent the correctness of the chairman's strategy regarding white people's participation in the anti-colonial struggle. Comrade Jesse is the chair of the Uhuru Solidarity Movement, a mass organization of white people under the leadership of the party with the responsibility to win masses of white people to support the demand for reparations and independence for African and colonized people. It's because of their stance that they were also attacked by the FBI and charged with being Russian agents, facing along with the chairman 15 years in prison. And while we understand that the chairman is the primary target, the government is making a statement that it's willing to strip the rights away even of white people if you don't fall in line with their interests. So let's welcome up comrades Penny and Jesse.
Uhuru. Uhuru. It is an incredible honor to be here tonight and to be able to salute Chairman Omali Yeshitela. I unite that this is very emotional and very powerful that we are able to give this tribute to Chairman Omali Yeshitela. I say victory to African people, and that African people will win. And we know that Chairman Omali Yeshitela has fought for, as has been said, for 60 years, every day of his life, fighting for the final liberation of Africa and African people everywhere, up against incredible headwinds of counterinsurgency, which means the US government's attack on the African liberation movement, the assassination of the leaders, every possible way that they have worked to slander African people and the movement of African people to be free. And we talked about a lot of, Comrade Janova talked about some of the incredible accomplishments of Chairman Omali Yeshitela, which would take us all night if we would go through it. But I would say this, that as the chair of the African People's Solidarity Committee, the organization of white people formed by Chairman Omali Yeshitela, under the leadership of the African Revolution, with the mandate to go into the white community, which is what we do, to organize other white people to take responsibility for the fact that there is colonialism inside this country, which means there are colonizers and the colonized, and that white people have resources, have security, have a future based on sitting on the backs of African people, on the genocide of the indigenous people, and on the colonization and oppression of the Palestinians and the majority of the people on the planet Earth. That's absolutely the truth. And the significance of the fact that Chairman Omali Yeshitela said that he believed, he understood that with the science of seeing the world through the eyes of the African working class, that white people could, for the first time in history, join the forward side of history under the leadership of the African Revolution, under the understanding of African and oppressed people on the planet Earth. This has never happened before. This has never happened before. This was an incredibly brilliant, scientific, and visionary stand and actions that Chairman Omali Yeshitela took. And I am profoundly grateful. I thank you, Chairman. I thank you deeply from the bottom of my heart to know that for the first time we can look honestly at what white people have done, and we have committed, as the chairman has said, the greatest atrocities that human beings could do to other human beings for hundreds of years in order to get the stolen land, get the stolen resources, in order to get something for ourselves and our children built on the suffering of African people and the majority of the people on this planet. And I have been, because of being in the African People's Solidarity Committee, of being able to speak to other white people, and often Chairman Omali Yeshitela is there, I have been in so many situations when people from Vietnam or indigenous people, the Irish or other struggling peoples, people from Chile, Venezuela, come up to the chairman after he speaks and says, we need you in our struggle. We need you in our struggle. And the thing is that the chairman is fighting for the entire world, for all the oppressed people, that this system has to go, because living in a social system, in a country soaked in the blood of everybody else, of African people, indigenous people, that is not a world that is sustainable. That will be and is in the process of being overturned. And when we see the Palestinian people right now and what they're facing, not against racism, not the ideas in white people's heads, but in the political and economic system of colonialism, which is also Palestine right here inside the borders of the United States. We see this struggle, we see this fight, and we know that Chairman Omali Yeshitela represents the fight for all the people to be able to live, for Africa to belong to African people, for reparations, not as a favor to African people, but the return of the stolen wealth created by the stolen labor and land of African people in the continent of Africa, and the return of this land to the indigenous people. That is what the future is going to bring. That is what won me when I heard Chairman Omali Yeshitela speak the first time in 1976, almost 50 years ago, that he could present the future, a future in which there is peace, a future without the oppressor and the oppressed. And white people have an interest in being in this future as well. But it's not going to be just because, oh, okay, can we all get along now? No, we have to pay our reparations. We have to return the stolen wealth, and that is what we want. That is what we do. I just want to say that the Uhuru Solidarity Movement and African People Solidarity Committee, between these two organizations under the leadership of the party, we have members in 130 cities in the United States. We are building, and more white people want to take the stand. They want to be on the forward side of history. They want to be part of reparations, because reparations is not a punitive stand of white people. It is how we join the world. It is a world, people say that they're fighting for socialism. Well, that's it. Return the stolen resources, return the stolen wealth to African people and the people on the planet Earth. And there will be peace. There will be a world in which all human beings can live, and we'll get rid of this vicious government that brings death and destruction to everybody else on the planet. There is a future, and we can be part of it. We say reparations now. Uhuru, we are winning. And this is why, by the way, I just want to say that the chairman is under attack, and we are. Yes. Because this is not just about get rid of racist ideas in your head. This is about a transformation of the entire planet. Yeah. And that the chairman is under attack for this. They say that we are, that Jesse and I are under attack for being under a Russian. But the thing is that they attacked us because we're under the leadership of Chairman Omali Yeshitela and the African Liberation Movement. We're saying, first of all, they can't put a finger on Chairman Omali Yeshitela. Hands off Uhuru. And that from the white community, we are organizing. We have a large base throughout this country and increasingly in other parts of the world, the base to push back these state attacks. Chairman has the right to anti-colonial free speech, the right to advocate for freedom and liberation for African people. We will fight for that, and we are winning. We will win. Hands off Uhuru, and all out to August 31st, which is going to be a hands off Uhuru mass mobilization right here in St. Petersburg, Florida, on the way to the trial, September 3rd. Uhuru!
Uhuru! Uhuru Penny. Next up, we have Comrade Jesse. Uhuru.
Uhuru. Uhuru. Uhuru. Hands off Uhuru. Hands off. Unity through. Reparations. Uhuru, everyone. I am very, very honored to be here. I just want to thank Chairwoman Penny Hess, who just spoke before me, and say that as a member of the African People Solidarity Committee, those words speak for me and everybody who is in APSC and the Uhuru Solidarity Movement. And again, I'm deeply honored to be here in the Uhuru House. I want to express my deepest revolutionary love, respect, and salutes to Chairman Omali Yeshitela, and just how grateful I am to be here to be a part of this tribute. And I also want to recognize Deputy Chair Onizane Yeshitela, Director Akile, Comrade Jainaba, and all of the members of the African People's Socialist Party. And again, salute Chairwoman Penny Hess. I have the honor to be a member of the African People's Solidarity Committee and our mass organization, Uhuru Solidarity Movement, organizing in the white community for reparations to African people under the leadership of Chairman Omali Yeshitela and the African People's Socialist Party. Along with Penny Hess, who you just heard speak, and Chairman Omali Yeshitela, who is the primary target of the US government's attack on the African Liberation Movement, I am also one of the Uhuru Three, a badge of honor. I wear it with pride. To have the opportunity to stand with my leadership, Chairman Omali Yeshitela and Chairwoman Penny Hess, who for the last 15 years that I've known them, have represented for me the templates of the new revolutionary human being. To be counted among them, I consider it an honor. And I also want to thank our attorneys, some of whom are here with us in the room, the attorneys representing the Uhuru Three, Addie Griffin, Leonard Goodman,
Mutaki Akbar, Angela Rainey, and Tom Inskeep. Let's give them a round of applause. I want to quickly say that, as Chairwoman Penny stated, the chairman is under attack, not because the US government truly believes he's an agent of Russia, but because, as the chairman himself has said, because he is not an agent of America, because he's not an agent of the interests of the United States. He's an agent of Africa and African people and represents the embodiment of African people's agency in fighting for their liberation. And like Chairwoman Penny said, they don't think we, Penny Hess and me and myself, work for Russians. Omali Yeshitela is not a Russian name. They know who we work for. We work for the African Revolution. And that's why we are under attack as part of the attack on the African People's Socialist Party. So I wanted to say that in talking about the case of the Uhuru 3, we talk about all these precedents that are being set and that have been set. But one precedent I really like to think about is the precedent Chairman Omali Yeshitela has set in kicking the ass of the white ruling class over and over and over again. As many of you here know, in 1966, the chairman tore down the anti-African mural on the wall of St. Petersburg City Hall when he was an organizer with the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee. First, the chairman exercised his alleged First Amendment right to petition the government for a redress of grievances, demanding that the mayor take down the despicable mural that portrayed African people in a grotesque caricature. In response, the mayor said African people, or minorities, as he put it, should learn to be less sensitive. The chairman took matters into his own hands and tore down the mural, marching through the streets of St. Petersburg to applause and cheers from the African community. For this courageous act, the first Black Power direct action, the chairman was tried, convicted, and sentenced to prison. Not once, not twice, but 3 times. Not double jeopardy, triple jeopardy. Between 1966 and 1973, the US government thought by putting Chairman Omali Yeshitela in prison, they could silence him. They failed. So they put him in prison again. They failed to silence him again. So they put him in prison again. They failed to silence him again. And by the time this 7-year legal saga is over, having gone all the way to the Supreme Court and then back to a state court where they convict the chairman a 3rd time, not only had they failed to silence the chairman, but during that time period, he founded the Junta of Militant Organizations, JOMO, and then co-founded the African People's Socialist Party to rebuild the Black Revolution. Yes.
Uhuru. Sorry, we need to make an announcement really quickly.
okay.
If you're parked over in the church parking lot, they're getting ready to lock the gates. So you need to move your vehicle. You can either move it directly across the street, or you can find parking here. But they are waiting for us to move the vehicles out of the parking lot of the church parking lot.
Been waiting for about 1,000 years. Right?
Yeah.
So, no problem. So I will close by saying that 50 years later, the chairman is still here. He is still fighting. He has rebuilt the anti-colonial movement worldwide. He has made reparations a household word. He has resurrected the global struggle against colonialism. He is the one whose will they could not crush. And that is why they're trying to put him in prison today. And once again, they will fail. So I can do no greater tribute to the heroism, courage, and towering stature of Chairman Omali Yeshitela's leadership than to read you his own words. So I close with this. In 1968, the chairman wrote a letter to the St. Petersburg Times from his prison cell, vowing a hunger strike. And it was printed in the St. Pete Times. This is what the chairman wrote from his prison cell in 1968. Quote, "Today I write to you from the bowels of hell. Again, I am in the white man's jail. The jail is nothing new to me, as it is nothing new to any Black man who has resisted America's way of life. Many men who resisted are dead. Death and jails have always been weapons whites have used to keep Black people chained by fear. For me, there can only be one choice. I will either live as a man or die as a man. It's that simple. For the entire period that I am in their jail, I will neither eat their food nor drink their water. And they shall release me alive, or they shall keep me for as long as it takes to die without food and water. Under these conditions, they may have my body, but my soul belongs to the Black folks." End quote. When African people who embody the chairman's soul are free, Chairman Omali Yeshitela will be there on the front lines. Chairman, I salute you. Death to colonialism. Long live Chairman Omali Yeshitela. Uhuru.
All right, Uhuru. So now we're gonna have a we're gonna take a pause from the tributes and we're gonna welcome the musical stylings of a talented Bay Area artist, Aaliyah Ray, singing "A Change Is Gonna Come." Uhuru.
Hello, everyone. Hello. I'm learning. I want to bring you greetings from PHDC, and I also want to thank God for being able to meet you, wonderful man. I'm very honored to be here. I'm learning a lot as I sit. I was nervous at first because I was like, I get nervous before I sing, but I heard cousin, and I was like, hold up. I might be with family. So I thank you guys for allowing me to be before you. I won't be before you long. I'm singing a song and get on out your way. I don't really need a microphone, but I'm gonna hold it. Maybe. I don't know. We're just gonna leave it. It's fine. It's fine. Yes. I was born by the river in a little tent. Oh, just like that river, I've been running ever since. It's been a long time coming, but I know a change gonna come. It's been too hard living, but I'm afraid to die, 'cause I don't know what's up there beyond the sky. It's been a long time coming, but I know a change gonna come. Oh, yes, it will. I go to the movie and I go downtown. Somebody always telling me don't hang around. It's been a long time coming, but I know a change gonna come. Oh, yes, it will. I go to my brother and I say, brother, help me believe. But he winds up knocking me back down on my knees. Oh, every time that I thought I couldn't last too long, but now I think that I'm able to carry on. It's been a long time coming, but I know a change gonna come.
Thank you so much. Yeah, change is not only coming, but it's happening right before our eyes because we're changing the world. Before we continue on, I just want to remind everyone in the room and online that we want everyone out for the trial starting on September 3rd in under 3 months in Tampa, Florida. The courts, they have to see our support. We must support this. We must support the movement. They need to see the support that we have, and they need to feel the weight of the people. And we also need everyone to donate to the Legal Defense Fund. We have a $5,000 goal tonight. So you can make that happen in this room, or you can go online at handsoffuhuru.org/donate. So our next special guest tribute comes from Comrade Nyendu from Fort Myers, Florida. And Comrade Nyendu is currently a member of the African People's Socialist Party and photographer for the Burning Spear newspaper. But he was also a member of one of the co-founding organizations of the APSP, Black Rights Fighters out of Fort Myers, led by Lawrence Mann, who was assassinated shortly after the party's founding in 1972. So we got another veteran in our struggle. Welcome, Comrade Uhuru. Comrade Nyendu, Uhuru.
First thing I start with, I kind of read what we was supposed to be having. It was supposed to be a tribute to, Chairman Omali Yeshitela. And, I thought about what the word meant, and, so that word means, to show, show respect, admiration. So, but the chairman has been showing to a tribute to African people all his life, so he's been doing it. Okay, so, that's why, and another thing about the word tribute, is just really to the to tribe. And the thing about it is, it's somehow fitting because say you're going to do a tribute with him, but it's have to have a relation to tribe. I'm not, we are a tribe of people, but we are not the Zulu, we're not the Mau Mau, we're not the Apache, we're not the Maasai, the Himbos, the Buds and Creoles, and Afro-Americans. We're not none of them. We are an African tribe, and we are an African nation. And guess who, leads the African nation? Is what we call our elder, the one who teaches, and leads. He's one that says, not only to explain the world, but to change the world. And so the chairman is the thing about chairman, he was an elder from birth. I met him over 50 years ago. And back then we used to call him Brother Joe. That was through respect and everything like that. But now, he transitioned to the Chairman Omali Yeshitela, and that's forevermore, And the thing about it, his wisdom and everything, did not come out of a fortune cookie. It came out of his scientific analysis of the ways of the world and how it affects us. Yeah. And from what he taught African people how to uplift and change, change our lives. And I just want to say, Uhuru, Vanguard up, and we are winning.
Uhuru, comrade. Uhuru, comrade Nyendu. I appreciate that. All right, we're going to continue with our tributes in a moment, but first I would like to call up the party's Director of Media and Communications, Comrade Director Akile Anai, to remind us all in the room and online how they can support the chairman and the Uhuru movement as we gear up for the most important trial set to happen in this country. Uhuru.
You have a federal warrant for this address. Keep your hands up and follow orders. This is the FBI. We have a warrant for this.
They handcuffed me and my wife out here. They wanted me to sit on the curb while they were carrying this out, something that I refused to do. They wanted my wife to sit on the curb out here, that she refused to do.
As I was coming out, this big old drone met me.
The only revolutionary organization that's done something here on the ground practically for African people is the one that's come under attack. Institution that offers a community radio station, a newspaper, a commercial kitchen, an Aquaba Hall rental space, and community office for our organizers. That was the building that has come under attack.
You need a breach? What do you need? Need one. I don't know. Oh, it's all better than money. Don't take it.
We will build a movement of white people that says hands off the Uhuru movement.
They see in the African People's Socialist Party a vanguard for the struggle for the liberation of our people. They see that because not just what we do here in the United States, but because we had the temerity to do like Garvey, to do like Malcolm X, and take the struggle of black people around the world.
But just how tremendous for the freedom, because when we look how this world was saying that it got Africa and our resources, it is our Africa, our people that created the world that we exist in today. And because of it, because Europe assaulted Africa and the rest of the world, it created a social system where Europeans, white people, the colonizers, were able to benefit at our expense. And the chairman has defined that reality as the colonial mode of production. And so this is the thing that defines our entire existence and the thing that he has struggled to fight against despite everything that has been thrown his way. And where a lot of people ran for the hills, a lot of people took the checks, a lot of people did a lot of dirty things, treacherous things, turning their backs. The chairman never took that route. And you can't talk about sacrifice until you talk about, Chairman Omali Yeshitela. And just the fact that the world is better off because we have Chairman Omali Yeshitela. The future is real, it is bright, it is not this bleak, desperate thing that white power projects itself, because it can't win. You see all around the world, it cannot win because we are determined to be free. No slave willingly accepts slavery. We will fight and we will be free. And what's happening is the system is experiencing that crisis of us fighting for our land and our resources and our futures. And we can do that because we have somebody like Chairman Omali Yeshitela that exists, that continues to fight, and that replicates himself in all of us. He didn't just say, I'm going to be the only one doing it, and everybody's going to just, because this is not just recognizing just him, but everything that he's created. And we are here a product of what he has created. And I carry right now this beautiful child, will come October 8th as a product. It's going to be a product of what the chairman has put in motion. And, and I'm excited because I know my child will have a future, just like all of our children will have a future because we will have been responsible for it. So that's why we have to mobilize and say, hands off Chairman Omali Yeshitela, to drop the charges on the Uhuru 3, because they not only threaten our rights to freedom of speech, and that's important because we have opened up the space for us to be able to the democratic space for us to be able to make the kinds of struggles that we've been able to make up to now. The right to vote, we hear it from, the Black petty bourgeoisie all the time. You got the right to vote, you got to vote. No, our participation in the electoral process was a part of the process of trying to achieve power. So we opened up that democratic space, and yet they try to take that right from you through all different kinds of avenues. And the same is true with your ability to not just say what's in your interest, but to hear what's in your interest, because they want to shut the chairman up. They want to shut this movement up precisely because of what we say, not because we didn't, when you look at this so-called evidence, there's nothing that they can say that we have done. It's everything that we have said, what we have put out, and what people are being won to, because that is the thing that protects the future. That's what we have to protect. And so it's not just freedom of speech that's under attack, it's the future that's under attack. And they want to arrest the future. They want to keep us in the past. And Chairman says, not one step backwards. The future is coming whether they like it or not. We will be responsible for bringing it into action. And so that's why, comrades, I'm calling on you in this room to be a part of this fight back. And you can do that right now. Comrade Jainaba, our excellent MC, has stated throughout the program the ways in which we can make that happen. So one, we need to see a show of hands. Who's going to be at the September 3rd trial and the August 31st march and rally? Uhuru. And you got to bring people. You got to bring your family, your friends, bring them along with you. If you represent an organization, bring them along with you and be at, this trial. We need thousands of people. We need bodies at this trial because as was stated, they have to feel the pressure of the people. That puts them in a real predicament. That shows them that they can't just make any old determination. It's not business as usual because they got people knocking at their door. We know where you live. So this is, something that we have to put that pressure on. So we have to mobilize fiercely for this trial come September 3rd in Tampa, Florida, and this march and rally on August 31st is going to kick us off. And so the second way that you can participate in, building for, this fight back is making a donation. And part of when they made this assault on our movement, because it's the US government, it's not just some regular old, like prosecutor, plaintiff, whatever. This is the US government. And the US government has access to a wealth of resources, our resources, to fight us. And what they do as part of making these attacks against us, they expect people to fold, to take plea deals, or for people to totally exhaust their bank accounts so that they cannot fight back. And we have been able to, through this movement, through the power of the people, have been able to sustain this fight back. Up to now, we've retained incredible attorneys, some of which are represented in this room tonight. I want to again salute our incredible attorneys. And we're going to have, as Comrade Attorney Addy for the chairman said, we have a bulletproof defense. And that is possible through the contributions that people have made to this campaign. So let's keep that going and let's make a contribution tonight to the Hands Off Uhuru campaign. As mentioned, we have a $5,000 goal, and we're going to make that in this room, and we're going to make that online to all of the comrades watching. We're going to make that, and we already have people kicking off our donations. I'm going to read, some of those, but I also want people to be able to say in this room, what you're able to give tonight. You can go to handsoffuhuru.org/donate. You can make out a check. You can, regular cash money works, as well, but this is part of your contribution to the fight back. So we have in total, just before we even got to this portion of the program, we've already had comrades making contributions. We have Comrade Paul Kessler online with $100. Uhuru, Comrade Paul, for kicking us off tonight. Where's Comrade Paul Kessler? Spokane, Washington. Uhuru, Comrade Paul Kessler. Thank you for your $100 contribution. Again, kicking us off tonight, comrades Match Paul, Again, online and in this room, we have Patricia, I believe this is also online, with $40, and Comrade John with $30. So this is what came in online before we even got to this portion. They heard the call during this entire incredible program tonight to make a contribution. So so somebody, you can shout it out right now. We have somebody making the tally in the room. Oh, we have Comrade Jamie. I believe that's our Jamie right here in St. Petersburg, Florida, with $25. Uhuru, Comrade Jamie. Uhuru. So let's get this up to $5,000. And is there anyone else that can make a contribution? Uhuru, who's that? Comrade Pop. Yeah. What you got? $60 from Comrade Pop. Uhuru. Comrade Johan. $20 from Comrade Johan. Uhuru. Comrade Mujahid. He got $25 on it. Uhuru, Comrade. Uhuru. That was Takara with $50. Uhuru. Hold up now. Woo, what we got over here? $50 from Comrade Janova. Uhuru. Uhuru. We have, and Tomboy pledges $100 tonight. Uhuru. Uhuru, Comrade. I see more hands. Comrade, is that Mike? Uhuru. $50 from Comrade Mike. All right. Thank you so much for being here and being a longtime supporter of this movement, Comrade. And we look forward to you being on the front lines at the trial, come September. Uhuru. Any more hands? Sister Valerie. Uhuru. How much did you say? 100 from Sister Geraldine and Sister Valerie. Uhuru. Uhuru. We just passed $1,000. Thank you. What's your name, sis? Empress with $30. Uhuru, Sister Empress. Thank you. Uhuru. Comrade Icarus.
I'll be pledging 15 later tonight.
All right, Comrade Icarus with $15. Thank you, Comrade Icarus. Uhuru. $100 from Kabula, one of our incredible engineers. You can't see him, but he's behind the scenes. Thank you, Comrade Kabula. Uhuru. $200 from Comrade Janice. Uhuru. Janice, member of the African People Solidarity Committee, right here on the ground. You might have seen her with Uhuru Pies, our famous Uhuru Pies that are in the back. So make sure you check that out. Uhuru. $20 from Sister Loria. Uhuru, Comrade, thank you. Uhuru, let's keep it going. We got any more donations in the room?
Lisa Watson, 100.
Lisa Watson with $100. Uhuru. Sister Tanja, what you got? 25 on it. Uhuru from Sister Tanja and DJ Eddie, our station manager for Black Power 96 Radio. Uhuru. Uhuru. Any more hands? I want to make sure I don't miss nobody. Okay. Can't see. From who? 20? Oh, Miss Minnie, $20. Uhuru. Uhuru, Miss Minnie. And we got to salute Miss Minnie because she is also a longtime supporter member of this movement. Yeah. And as chairman reminded us, fought for the for the prisoners with the Burning Spear newspaper, making sure that our comrades behind enemy lines could get that spear. Just really want to salute and just appreciate that you are here, Comrade Sister Minnie. Thank you so much. Uhuru. Raboni, $100. Uhuru! Uhuru! My God! Uhuru! Uhuru, comrades. Okay, our special guest surprise has arrived. So, Uhuru. Okay, let's see where we are, comrades. Keep it coming. We have another 100 from Kabula. Okay, I didn't mean to look freaked out. Thank you, Comrade Kabula. We're at $2,155, comrades. That is the power of the people, and I just want to keep it going, but I want to get back to these tributes because we have some incredible, this event has just been amazing. And again, I can't say enough to you, Chairman. I'm just so thankful, appreciative, there's not enough words, but like Deputy Chair says, it's not about what you say, it's what you do. And I'm gonna just keep doing this, so those are my words to you, Chairman. And just salute to you, and you deserve this. And and with that, again, hands off Chairman Omali Yeshitela, hands off the Uhuru 3, drop the charges. We are winning, and we're gonna keep announcing these totals throughout the evening. Comrade Shukra, $50 in St. Louis. Comrade Shukra, thank you so much. All right, we'll keep you updated. I'll turn it back over to our wonderful MC, Comrade Janebo. Uhuru.
Uhuru, I think the baby gonna come out on Chairman's birthday. Chairman and owner's birthday. I could just sense it. Let me get a second. I wanted to make sure everybody has a seat, and make sure that everybody knows that we have some delicious food. Go ahead and grab a plate. And this is a good opportunity. Just give me 1 second. Let's go ahead. Are we going, Comrade King? Oh, sorry. Yeah. All right, thank you. All right, Uhuru. I want to. We're having our next tribute section, and this is coming from our special guest this evening. Kicking it off, we have Sister Fia, who's coming to us from South Carolina.
Yeah.
And she represents the Malcolm X Center and is a veteran of the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee, SNCC.
Yeah.
Coming out of the 1960s and still in the trenches.
Yeah.
So we are honored to have her here with us today. Uhuru, Sister Fia.
Uhuru. Wow. First, I want to say thank you for the opportunity to salute a fellow SNCC veteran, but more than that, to salute a stalwart, a people soldier, one who has not only served humanity for 60 years, but one who, like now, has done so under constant fire. Coming out of the public accommodations and voting rights phase of the US human rights struggle, some of us began to see that even though the sit-ins were about more than a hamburger and voting was about more than the ballot, neither would put the power over our own lives in our own hands. Unless and until, like our ancestors who struck out after emancipation during Reconstruction, asserted the human right of self-determination individually and collectively, reclaiming dignity and sovereignty, pooling their resources, and creating more than 1,400 towns and villages.
Yes.
Others who dared to demand resources to return home to Africa. We would otherwise remain prey to the system from which we fought 250,000 strong to free ourselves. Kith and kin. In Atlanta, there was a small group of veterans and newcomers who'd won the street fight to seat Julian Bond and to affirm his First Amendment right as you fight today.
Yes.
For the Uhuru 3. We had won against the Georgia legislature and in the courts, but at the same time, we knew we were not free. What about the masses of Black people? Still mired in poverty, exploitation, and worse, self-doubt, self-hatred, internalized white supremacy and patriarchy. Looking at all we've done and knowing we're still not free, up came the age-old question, where do we go from here? In Atlanta, that handful of SNCC malcontents, known as the Atlanta Project, were learning pre-colonial African history, studying emerging African nations and what their leaders had to say. Together, we picked up where Hubert Harrison and Fanon had left off and began to put together what we viewed as next steps. We viewed ourselves as giving meaning and application to the phrase Black Power, coined not by Kwame and not by Mukasa, but by Richard Wright. That it was recalled in 1965 by Adam Clayton Powell at a Howard University Law School address. Black Power. That's what we need, he said, Black Power. Not at all well received by the SNCC establishment and the associates of the day. But the cat was out of the bag at that point. Black had become beautiful, and even SCLC's Martin Luther King Jr. and the NAACP Royce Wilkins, though uncomfortably, were forced to utter the words Black and power in the same sentence. Here too, in Tampa, Florida, the spirit of resistance was brewing. A light had gone off, a spark set ablaze. Like a bolt of lightning brought the state of Florida into the 20th century. Black had not only become beautiful and worthy, but it had become exemplary. When this SNCC veteran snatched the degrading, demoralizing, racist City Hall rag off the wall and stood there as now for self-respect, self-determination of African people specifically and humanity generally. Despite constant criticism and fire, Omali Yeshitela has done what few others dared. That early 1966 SNCC Atlanta Project paper that called for Black power and white partnership under the Black working class leadership, eschewed by the SNCC leadership of the day and today's profiteering elders, came to life in his hands here in Tampa, across this nation and others. With clarity of vision and voice, unconditional commitment, and stunning exemplary standards and principles, the resulting Uhuru movement's institutions and developmental practices have instilled and inspired substantive, not symbolic, substantive Black self-respect and self-determination, white humanity reclamation and reconstruction, all coming together for global impact and new world models, which indeed place the power in the people. In the spirit of the indomitable Glenn Ford, we say, all power to the people. Hands off the Uhuru Bridge.
Uhuru. Thank you so much, Sister Fia, for joining us and for coming from so far away.
Oh, please, it's my privilege.
Yeah, F minor, we, she brought us together.
Uhuru, just as a quick announcement, if you're gonna make a donation here, we're still collecting our donations. We have envelopes that are gonna be coming around. Just write your name on the envelope. If it's a check that you're writing, make it out to Hands Off Uhuru. And if you are doing your donations online, it's handsoffuhuru.org/donate.
Are we just handing the donations back to Jesse?
Yes, just hand them back to Jesse if you're getting an envelope. The Uhuru South Cash App, that goes to a different section. So handsoffuhuru.org/donate. Uhuru, yeah, you can make that online. All right, so we're gonna close out this section of special guest tributes with our brother who traveled all the way here from New York, former New York State Assemblyman and Councilman for East New York, showing what Black power in electoral politics can look like. A dear comrade, Uhuru Charles Barron, and thank you for being here. Uhuru.
Thank you very much. Black power.
Black power.
For black people.
Black people.
Say it like it means. Black power.
Black power.
For black people.
Black people.
I bring you greetings from the Big Apple. Never gave us a bite. And I'm also known as Mr. Inez Barron. That is my beloved wife. And on behalf of Operation Power, my wife Inez, we had to come and be with our brother today. Let's give it up for 60 years in the struggle. Omali, Yeshitela, and Ona have become friends to Inez and I, not just comrades in struggle, but friends. And I don't call too many people friends. A lot of comrades, a lot of associates, but I don't call too many people friends. This brother here, and I can appreciate it a lot coming out of the movement of the 60s. He is the leading 21st century revolutionary theorist in this country. No one is a greater theoretician on revolution than Omali Yeshitela for the 21st century. That is critical because all your action, all of your behavior, all of your practice, as Alan Ivers would say, practice.
Yeah, practice.
All of your practice should be guided by theory.
Yes.
Any practice that's not guided by theory can go anywhere, and most times nowhere. So we appreciate you, Chairman. I told my group I had to come down here. We got 1,000 things going on, and I wanted to be with my brother on this day, on this special occasion. Because you know, there's a lot of history that is more than dates and personalities. History teaches us what is possible.
Yes.
History teaches us what can happen. Harriet Tubman got up in enslavement, say, I'm getting up on out of here. I'm sure there was a bunch of Negroes saying, are you crazy? Do you know they will cut off your limb? Do you know they will lynch you and hang you? You're not gonna get away from them hound dogs. Harriet, you have lost your mind.
Yes.
She said, perhaps, but I'm getting up on out of here.
Yes.
And took off. Went back 19 times.
Yes.
To free over 300 of us. And you know, she was a soldier. She freed another 700 in battling from plantation to plantation. I have to be honest with you. If I were back there and I ran away the first time, any of you Negroes who didn't come, I'm not coming back for you. Free at last. Free at last. Thank God Almighty, I got 19 people free because I ain't going back. That's a bad sister. Give it up for Harriet Tubman. Give it up. Omali Yeshitela has that kind of pull, that kind of strength. You know, we say free the Uhuru 3, and we are going to be free. We are going to win this case. They're going to regret they ever did it, because after this victory, the revolution is going to be forward ever and backward never. So I'm excited about what's going to happen on September 3rd. I don't wish this on anybody, but they couldn't have done it to a better person. Because now, front and center is going to be the 21st century revolutionary theorist of our time. Is going to get a hearing. So I came down here excited. You know, I don't even like to say sometimes, you know, we come to our meetings, man, look at the white supremacy is doing and the oppressors doing this. Look what we're doing. Look what they're doing in Africa, in the Sahel region of Africa. Look at Africa. The average age, the median age of African people is like 20, 22 years old. They're rising up everywhere. It's French, get the hell out of Africa. America, get the hell out of Africa. They're saying, keep your IMF, your International Monetary Fund. Keep your World Bank. Keep your franc. Keep your dollar. Keep your British pound. Keep your euro. We're going to have a dinar backed by gold. And African people are rising up. The African working class will lead this revolution, as they're doing right now in Burkina Faso, in the Sahel region, and Mali and Chad. Africa is leading this world revolution. And we, in the belly of the beast, have to strike our blow. We're in a strategic position, being in the belly of the beast. That's why I got into the electoral arena. They said, Charles, you're going to be with those two parties? No, I'm using them, just like they use us. They hate us. Our biggest enemy is not Donald Trump. Ain't no white nothing. It's the sellout, sycophant Negroes of the Democratic Party. We, you know, in the Black Panther Party, in the Black Panther newspaper, we had the pig of the week. Every week, we put a pig, the pig of the week, Mayor Alioto, Richard Nixon, and then some of the sellout Negroes. Well, since we're in the 21st century and I wanted to get a little more sophisticated, Chairman, I got this word from you, sycophant. A sycophant. So on our program on WBAI, we come on every Friday from 5 to 6. We have the sycophant of the week. You should see it. I walk around the neighborhood, brothers off the block. Charles, I know some sycophants. I said, good. I said, do you know what a sycophant is? A sycophant is one who sucks up to people in power, is one who kisses parts of the anatomy they ought not be kissing for their personal gain, their personal benefit, and not our collective liberation. So when you walk through the community, and sycophants are usually dumb, so just say, good morning, sycophant, and they will smile at you and say, thank you. And they'll say, good morning back. Sycophants, that's what we're fighting against in New York. The people that you can touch, reach, that are right before you are these Negroes that the Democratic Party puts up front. Look at America. The Secretary of Defense of the Defense, a black man. Please, he ain't know nothing about what's happening with imperialism. He's a puppet. The Joint Chief of Staff, black man. The sister that's who's the UN representative, black woman. You know, the Vice President, an invisible black woman. You really think these four and these powerful positions are calling any shots for anybody? Look at New York State. The Attorney General, black woman. The head of the Senate, a black woman. The head of the Assembly in New York State, a black man. The mayor, a blue man. He's a cop. Mayor Adams, the worst mayor since Rudolph Giuliani. He's like a black Giuliani. All of these people in these powerful positions, you know what it reminds me of and what we are so grateful for? Osajifo, Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, who said neo-colonialism is the last stage of imperialism. So that's why I'm happy, because by having them all up in front, that means they're dying. And they want to front black people to make you think that you're making progress or make you think you're fighting for inclusion and they're letting you in. So when you see a seller, I don't even call them Uncle Toms anymore because Uncle Tom was more radical. It's an insult to Uncle Tom to call him Uncle Tom. It's a real insult to Uncle Tom. Uncle Tom was trying to help the enslaved people. I would not insult Uncle Tom like that. And I'm not gonna insult a pig either. So sycophants is most appropriate. It's most appropriate. But on the real side, I'm so happy to be alive in this time. I'm 73 years old, and you know, they won our seat back, right, in the city council. We beat the most powerful machine in the country, the Brooklyn Kings County Democratic Party. We beat them for 21 years. And we delivered. So they got them back. Best thing that could have happened. I was always a free black man. Now I'm a freer black man. So they in big trouble. I won't hold y'all no longer. I know y'all got a long program, but I'm excited. I was glad to come here. I told them, don't tell my chairman that I'm coming so I can surprise him. Busting the store. I like busting stuff up. That's what I do at City Hall and in the State Assembly. Told me I couldn't come to the State Assembly unless I wore a shirt and tie, because that's the decor. I made history. First man ever to enter the chambers of the New York State Assembly with no ties on my neck and no ties to the system. Black power. Black power.
Great surprise.
Uhuru, it was really tough to keep your presence a secret from Chairman. But we salute your work and appreciate you being here. Just want to make a statement that we are at a donation total of $1960. We're trying to reach our goal of $2,500 tonight. Be sure if you need an envelope, just raise your hand. Jesse will get you an envelope. We're taking cash. Pull out your phones. We could go right now, handsoffahuru.org/donate. And if you have checks, you can make the checks out to Hands Off Uhuru. Okay. Okay. All right, we're going to close out our tributes and we're going to introduce our last speaker. It's my pleasure to introduce my direct leadership as the National Director of Organization for the African People's Socialist Party. And he's known to many as Chimurenga Waller. And he's a veteran of our party and our movement. And he wears many hats and he helps open many doors. That's an inside joke, if you know what I mean. And he's known to the chairman as my baby brother, Comrade Director Chimurenga Selabao.
Yeah, I really want to thank everyone for coming. But I don't want to apologize for you coming and staying late, because it's going to be well worth it. My job is to introduce the guest of honor, who is also my brother, Omali Yeshitela. The chairman is a giant among internationalists, among authors, among theoreticians, not just for the African world, but for the world in general. I mean, we're hearing Putin and other leaders repeat what the chairman is saying. He's having a world impact. So I want you to understand who it is that's sitting in St. Petersburg, Florida right now, who I'm going to introduce. By the way, he hates long introductions. So I won't make it too long, but I want everyone to know, if you can think of the greatest African thinker, the greatest thinker, Karl Marx, if you can think about Malcolm X, you're sitting in the room with their equals right now. Yes. So I want you to know that, and I want you to go to our website, apsbuhuru.org, and look at some of the videos. Go to YouTube, look at some of the chairman's videos. You will probably be astounded. Because this is African fundamentalism that was created by Marcus Garvey. This is African fundamentalism of the 21st century. And the chairman has taken African fundamentalism and the revolutionary voice of Malcolm X and just taken it to the moon. So without further ado, I want to introduce the leader of the African nation, Chairman Omali Yeshitela. I really want to offer my appreciation for the event that's happening this evening, and for all of you incredible comrades who've come out to be with me on tonight. Some veterans who I've been connected with for many, many years, and friends, family members. I just want to again offer appreciation and say that it's good to be here in St. Petersburg, Florida, for a couple of reasons. One is that there are some sycophants who had determined that they didn't see me in St. Petersburg because I had been run out of town. So he was run out of town, right? That's what they've said. And then there are those who, as you know, have said that I'm a Russian agent, that I've been working for Russia, and that this is something they declared began, I think, in 2014. And being back in St. Petersburg gives me an opportunity to say that I was sent out into the world, not by St. Petersburg, Russia, but by St. Petersburg, Florida. And this is where my consciousness was shaped by the real experiences here in the real world. Didn't have anything to do with Russians. Our struggle began so many years before Russia was a meaningful factor in the world. The attack that they made on our Africa. And we've been fighting ever since then. I want to say that I think it's important, I want to mention just a few things about my own history. Partially because we've heard some things, I think, that should contribute to an understanding that what I've done and what I've been doing have nothing to do with Russians in 2014. They know it has nothing to do with Russia in 2014. I was born in this city at a time where Black people in this city were restricted to, by law, by a 2 mile square area. It was a city where Black people were brought to clear the swamps, build the railroads, and things like that to facilitate the emergence, the creation of a tourist industry. That Black people became the workers in this tourist industry, in the hotels, in the restaurants, other kinds of service industry, and we were servicing white people who came from the north or from Canada. That's what black people were doing here. And that developed because they found the climate so favorable, and that they developed this nursing home industry, this whole retirement center. In fact, one of the comedians, Johnny Carson, used to refer to St. Petersburg as God's waiting room. Because all the white people were dropped off here, right, etc. It was hard to find a white person who was born in St. Petersburg, Florida. Most of them came from someplace else to St. Petersburg, Florida, right? But we were here, and we were worked like beasts in this city. I see Bernice Green. She used to be Bernice Shealy. And I'm mentioning her in part because her daddy owned a grocery store right across the street from Sidney Harden's grocery store, because we had grocery stores in the community back then. And her daddy created the grocery store had the first shopping cart in the black community was her daddy. Her daddy did that. And these were our neighbors and our friends. And we had a decent quality kind of relationship among our people. I grew up in a city where African people were denied any kinds of meaningful resources. In fact, there was a black man, his name was Elder Jordan, who came to this city, didn't have anything. And he started peddling, he became a peddler. And then he got resources and he started buying land. The black man did start buying land. He even created a bus company that would transport black people to different places in this area. Elder Jordan is the one who gave the land to the city for black people can have some housing. Jordan Park, a black man, gave them that land so black people could have housing there. Elder Jordan is the one who gave them the land so that black people could have a school. Jordan Elementary School, a black man gave them those resources. And then there were other bits of land that Elder Jordan contributed so that black people could have a decent life as much as possible under the circumstances. And then, and so Elder Jordan was a powerful force. And when during the Depression, when the city had no money, Elder Jordan loaned the city money to keep the city running. This is the city that we grew up in. But they've taken Jordan Park. They've destroyed Jordan Elementary School. They've taken all the resources. Campbell Park, that was one of the forces, that the black hospital that was there, destroyed it all. And black people are treated like criminals and like beggars for resources that came from the black community. Was no Russians involved in that. No Russians had to tell me what happened to Elder Jordan. I know what happened to Elder Jordan. You see, there was no Russians anywhere in sight that I knew of. There was a St. Petersburg, Florida that was named for St. Petersburg, Russia. And that says something about GPS system. They got that wrong, Sheldon. Long time ago, Columbus got messed up. GPS, right? and GPS messed up. They said they were looking for Russians in St. Petersburg, Florida. Hell, they didn't want to find no Russians. If they wanted to find Russians, they know where Russia is, but they don't want to mess with Russia. So Russia is prepared to deal with them on the terms they want to deal with. So they come to my house. They come to my house before dawn, at 5 o'clock in the morning. They come with tanks. You saw pictures of the armored personnel carriers in front of my house. They use assault weapons. So when I come downstairs before light, these assault weapons, the targeting devices, that's on the target, the weapons are hitting me in the chest. They're letting me know that they would kill me. And so they killed Fred Hampton. Was no Russians involved in that? They killed Fred Hampton. The FBI and the Chicago Police Department murdered Fred Hampton. Was no, and what we talking about? we can come at Charles Barron here. You know, he comes from New York, and he can tell you about 1969. He probably wasn't born then. Yes, sir. When the FBI and the federal government framed up the Panther 21. 21 members of the Black Panther Party put them on trial for a conspiracy to blow up the flowers in the botanical garden. A trial that lasted 2 years. I forgot 100 and some odd charges that they had indicted them for. And Tupac's mama. Anybody know who Tupac was? Tupac's mama, Afeni Shakur, ended up acting as their lawyer in the courtroom. And they won the case. They beat the case, all 100 and some odd charges. There's no Russians there. Fred Hampton was asleep in his bed. And in 1969, on December 4th, in West Monroe in Chicago, when the police and the FBI rolled up on their homes at 4 o'clock in the morning, having first gone throughout the community and moved all the Black people out of the community so they can come there and murder Fred in the bed, and they did. They murdered him in his bed. There's no Russians there. No Russians had to tell me about what happened to Fred Hampton. He was a cohort of mine because he was organizing in Chicago, and I was organizing in St. Petersburg and Kentucky and other places like that. So I just think that it's really important for us to acknowledge that what has happened to us has nothing to do with Russians. It has to do with America. And that African people, and I say African because that's what we are. Yes. You can't get on no damn boat in 1619 as an African and then get off in Jamestown, Virginia as a Negro. If we were Africans when we got on the damn boat in Africa, we were Africans when we got off the boat here. Unless that was a magic boat. Unless that was the boat that maybe that Noah built, or that Jonah fell off and was swallowed by the great fish. If it was an ordinary boat, damn it, when we got on the boat as Africans, we got off the boat as Africans. And you don't even have to go to school to learn that, do you? You have to go to school to unlearn that, right? And so that's just the reality that we are talking about. This is Russian nonsense. America has always terrorized Black people. Has never been an instance. That's how we got here. And we're talking about free speech here because this is their conundrum, not mine. I did not write the First Amendment. I did not write the so-called Bill of Rights. In fact, when the Bill of Rights and the First Amendment were created, it was created by white people who were running from tyranny in Europe and in England. That was in 1791. I was picking cotton for white people under the gun and whip in 1791, and there was no such thing called freedom for Black people in this country until 1865. So definitely the First Amendment, it wasn't written for me. It was written for white people, but their conundrum is that Black people engage in serious struggle all this time and force them to at least act like it represents us too. That's your problem. Because I'm going to push you on that. I'm not trying to turn Joe Biden into a revolutionary. I'm not trying to turn his administration into some kind of progressive entity. I'm trying to hold them to what they say this system is built on. That's what I'm doing. I'm holding you to that. I'm holding your feet to the fire around democratic rights, about First Amendment, about the Constitution that you say is foundational to this system. And what you're doing when you attack me, what you're doing is attacking the very foundation of this system. The ideological and legal foundation of the system is under assault, not me, because it wasn't created for me. And they are hoping, they are believing that they can do this because this is a tried old thing. The Black boogeyman, the Russian boogeyman, etc. All you gotta do is say Russian Black together, that's hell, that's it. That's it, that settles it right there. Guilty, guilty, guilty. That's their assumption. But the fact is that we have built organization here and throughout the world. My cohort, SNCC cohort, Commander Fia here, who by the way is a lawyer as well as other things that she represents, talks about just the struggles that we've gone through, just trying to change the conditions in our lives as a people. I didn't start off as a revolutionary. I started off as a sycophant. And which was relatively easy, almost easy. I'm gonna just say these things because I just want to bring us back to St. Petersburg, Florida. And guess what happened is that I was fortunate to have been born when I was born. I was born in 1941. This is a crucial year in the history of the struggles of oppressed peoples around the world, crucial period. 1947, India became independent. 1949, China became independent. Revolutionary struggles of oppressed peoples, non-white people around the world was happening. I wasn't conscious of the Indian Revolution. I don't remember that, but it had to impact my consciousness like it did Black people everywhere. And I grew up at a time where people would conduct all the time what they call race talk. You go to a home, everybody was talking about what was happening with Black people, to Black people. That was just normal. You just had that discussion. You had to have that discussion. And so these were the circumstances within which I grew up. And I grew up at a time because, most Africans became Christians because Christianity was perceived as the religion of the oppressed. Did you know that? Christianity was perceived as the religion of the oppressed. Go down, Moses, way down Egypt land, tell old Pharaoh, let my people go. That was the message. That was the thing that brought Christianity to the Black lives because it was perceived as a religion of the oppressed. And in my lifetime as a child at birth, we had situations where the older sisters would come to the house every time a Black male baby was born. This is true. And say, is this the one? Is this the one? And that's based on the whole Christian Messiah connection and how it was applied to our real life of suffering and terror that Black people have always lived with and live with now today, except it's so ubiquitous, it's normal. Terror. Can't go to a meeting. If the white man know I came to that meeting, I'm gonna lose my job. Or they might attack it like they did here when they bombed this center right here that we're sitting in right now in 1996. You can't wear your hair a certain way. You can't wear your pants a certain way. You can't do all this stuff, live under this kind of tyranny of a white nationalist oppression. So this is the stuff that we grew up with, and we didn't need any Russian. My grandmother was the person who was really important in childcare for me, because my mama was a beautician, and she was out all the time, I guess, doing beautician stuff. But my grandmother, she would leave me with my grandmother, and my grandmother would read all these stories to me. Bible stories that I was maybe in my 60s before I understood she was providing political education. She was, because she read to me stories about Joseph, who was sold into slavery by his brother, the Joseph with the many-colored coat. She read to me stories about Samson, who defeated the Philistines with the jawbone of Biden. I shouldn't say that, should I? And this is, what we grew up with. And was no Russians there at all. I had an aunt, my mother's sister, who literally taught me to read while I was in diapers. This is a literal truth, you see. I could read before I got out of diapers. And I learned to read, not look, Jane, look kind of stuff. She taught me how to read on the floor of our living room, the newspaper. That's what I learned to read from. And for many years later on, I thought this whole thing about having some kind of genetic memory, because I would have dreams about being chased through the woods by white people, dogs, and what have you. But that wasn't a dream. That's what I read when I was a child. That's what was going on with black people when I was a child. This is no Russians involved in this. This was white America that's responsible for this kind of the experiences that I was having. So I think it's really important, just to make these comments, just to help people to understand that, and I know everybody in here understands that. That's Russian garbage. It's nonsense. Everybody's seen me here. You know who I am. And there are Negroes who know who I am, who told the newspapers all kind of garbage. Yes. Preachers, yes. Preacher Negroes. Yes. Preacher Negroes who, when we were involved in struggle right here in the city, when they killed Tyrone Lewis, and we had a magnificent movement here in this city, preacher Negroes, who told me that he just stayed in the movement because he was working with the feds. He said that to me later on because he thought it was something to brag about. You understand? And I had, there were others who claimed that they knew something was wrong with us because of the way we engaged in the elections here in 2017 and 2019, because they said the Russians paid for that. As they said, the Russians paid for our activity. And it was all about speech. What was this? They charged, said the Russian paid us, and we were talking about reparations, and we were talking about gentrification. The Russians paid us to say this. And the elections got so heated here because they like these tame elections. They don't want any kind of stuff to change the decorum in the election. So we had election comrade Akile here, comrade Jesse Neville, who as one of the three, and Commander Keeley we are the indicted, unindicted, well, we were the unindicted co-conspirators, 4 of us, but minus one, because Akile was also one of them. She was also one of them. And they had no case then. They have no case now. It was just so ridiculous of what it was that they were doing. So we are going to struggle. And I just wanted to say that something incredible is happening in the world today. It is happening in the world today. And a lot of people are upset and unsettled. But you don't have to be really smart to see that white power is on its death throes. Yeah. You don't have to be smart. You don't have to even be smart. All you got to do is open up a newspaper. Look at, you got a situation where the whole crisis, the whole system is riddled with crisis. You got an ex-president who has been convicted on what, 34 felonies, facing several more. The ex-president who said that the elections are rigged any damn way. You got a mob of white people who attacked the Capitol, climbing the walls like spider people, chasing the vice president of the United States through the halls, talking about hanging him. You got a situation where one person sat at the desk with the feet on the desk of the 3rd most powerful elected official in this country. And you got mobs of white people out there now, and they don't even know if they can have a successful election in 2024. You got the situation where the sitting president, his son has just been convicted on gun charges and come out in testimony about his drug use, and they still haven't explained that cocaine they found in the White House. That's enough. Even think about cocaine, anywhere in the Black community. We have helicopters and armed thugs and what have you on the White House. This is where it's happening at. And then you've got this crisis because people who they thought were dead, movements they thought were dead, coming to life. Free Palestine, free Palestine, free Palestine. They got movements they thought were dead. They had the Russian Soviet Union had imploded. And so Russia was no longer a factor. William Jefferson Clinton did a dance when that happened. He was so thrilled. You had American pundits talking about this is the end of history. They said this is the end. Can you imagine that? I said this was Fukuyama. He said this is the end of history because after that what they called a liberal democracy, this is what we live in. They call it liberal democracy. They said you can't get any better than that after the collapse of the Soviet Union. And I think he's writing another piece now to express a retraction, you know. But the thing is that the world is undergoing serious change. All the people living under colonial domination, the whole world, with the exception of a few places on earth, live under the boot of white power. The whole world live like that. And they want to act like that's normal. They attack our Africa. 600 years ago, Africa came under attack by Portugal, that was nothing. When it attacked Africa, Portugal was just like an appendix on the bottom of Europe. Nobody could figure out what the hell it was for, right? And then when Portugal in 1615 initiated the attack on Africa, initiated the beginning of the process of creating what would become the model for agriculture, but what they did in Africa, the sugar production of the Madeiras, and then taking Black people to other places around the world, all in Angola and all in Mozambique and all those other kinds of places. You had this stuff happening and it spread here. Black people, you hear this nonsense about America is a nation of immigrants. We are not immigrants. We are captives. That's the thing that's really important. We are the only people other than the indigenous, other than Sheridan, who didn't come here looking for a better way of life, but lost a better way of life as a consequence of being captured and brought here. And they don't want me to say that. They want me to say our problem is that white people don't like us. Racism. I don't think that much of white people. I put white people in the center of the universe. That I'm in trouble because white people don't like me? No, I'm in trouble because somehow they've expropriated my power. Because if I had power over my life, it wouldn't make a difference if they like me or not. That's the question. You have the power so it doesn't matter whether I'm liked or not. That's the only reason that people can live as equals. You can't, people have talked about Black people need to integrate. The oppressed can't integrate with the oppressor. When you see integration in this country, you'd call it, it's better term, gentrification. When you see white people moving into the community, that means we're on the way out. When you see those little blue bicycles that parked in your community, that's it, you understand? When you see a Starbucks pop up and shit, we're on the way out of there. That's the way it is. That's the way it is. And gentrification is a critical thing that we're looking at. And we don't play that. And I want to talk about gentrification. The indigenous people don't know about gentrification. Yeah, call it manifest destiny. That's what it was called. And so the fact is the world is in the process of rectifying itself. And we're just giving it a hand. Just giving it a hand. And I just want to say, we're going to beat them. They're going to have to come up and say that First Amendment rights are good for everybody except Black people. Because we're going to shove it down their throats. They say we weaponize the First Amendment. We weaponize free speech. Hell, we didn't weaponize free speech, you did. That's what you created when you said you were running from tyranny in England. That's why you created the so-called Bill of Rights, because you were creating this as a weapon against oppression. You don't want to live like this anymore. You just didn't know I was going to say, I don't want to live like this anymore. So anyway, this struggle is for the emancipation. We believe that the whole system that we live under is what we characterize as a colonial mode of production. A mode of production, by the way, is this effort to offer some kind of science to human society so that we're not locked into a situation that thinking things that happen in the world because we weren't blessed. Somebody put roots on us, God was unkind to us, or we don't have good speakers anymore, etc. There is a process through which economic activity occurs, that people live through. And it has been defined in some ways in the past, mostly by Europeans, that they've called this the capitalist mode of production. We say they missed it because, and I'm just going to say this, that what happened was that Marx had to explain where capitalism came from. He said, in order to understand capitalist production, for there to be capitalist production, there must first be capitalist accumulation. But if there's capitalist accumulation, there must be capitalist production. He said, it looks like we're locked into a vicious circle. And the only way we can get out of this is to presuppose there was an accumulation of capital that preceded capitalist production. He said that accumulation was turning Africa into a warring for the commercial hunting of black skins. He said it was in turn the indigenous people in this land, right here, into mines, bringing up gold and silver for the Americans. He said it was the assault that was made on the East Indies, talking about India and that part of the world, etc. That was bloodying people and taking resources. I think England killed something like 50 million people in India alone. This is the origin of this thing, he said. This is primitive accumulation. I'm saying you call it primitive accumulation, but in so doing, what they contribute to this whole thing of making us objects of history. That means that if it's primitive accumulation for the development of white people, then our purpose of existence is the development of white people. We say it's not primitive accumulation. It is what it is a colonial mode of production. It is a way in which life is created for white people, for African people. The whole world is now locked into this system. For the first time in history, there's one world economy. That world economy was created by Portugal's attack on Africa and then the dispersal of African people around the world. Wouldn't be a Venezuela without African enslavement. Wouldn't be a Cuba without African enslavement. Wouldn't be most of what they characterize as the Americas without the enslavement of African people that brought with it colonialism. This is the colonial mode of production that the whole world is locked into, and that's why they are afraid of what I have to say and what you have to hear. And so, anyway, we're going to fight this case. We got incredible lawyers. There's my lawyer. Addie, stand up, please. Addie, stand up. There's my lawyer. He said we got a bulletproof. We're going with a bulletproof defense. And there's her partner, Tom Insky. Stand up, Tom. And where's Mutaki? There's Comrade Mutaki. Stand up, Mutaki. Let everybody see you. Yeah. And Mutaki, you know Akbar Muhammad. No, not Akbar Muhammad. What is it? No, Naeem. That's his son. That's his son back there, trying to be unrecognizable. He's undercover. Yeah, that's his son there. And there's coming Angela. You know, she works with Leonard Goodman, and Goodman is, as you know, is the author of the motion that we to dismiss the charges. And we got an incredible team of lawyers here. And I just wanted to say that they're magnificent. They attack us, and part of what their objective is to take our money so that we don't have them programs that we got. And these programs are programs that have been organized by Owners and Yeshitela, who is the deputy chair of African Social Party. Not the Russians, you understand? We got something like 50 some odd economic institutions. Our objective is not to run around making white people not like us, do like China. Get economic development. We negate the colonial mode of production by what we create ourselves, which is why they want to stop us. And we get the people talking about where reparations coming from. The people debate this. How are we going to get reparations? What are we going to do with it? Et cetera. We get reparations already. We got a whole movement. We just built a $150 basketball court with reparations. We saw white people say, I don't want to be a part of this. Here's my self-criticism. Here's reparations that's coming to us. So I wanted to say that, and we want everybody. It's going to be a long, hot summer. And we're going to be working between now and September 3rd. And we're going to have on October 31st a massive mobilization August 31st. Massive mobilization that we're going to be doing here. We're going to have rallies, and for the duration of September, we'll be having rallies. We'll be having forums. We have Palestinian questions going to be out there, in question of the indigenous peoples here. You know, Leonard Peltier is a man who has been locked up for almost 50 years. He's an indigenous man who's been locked up for almost 50 years because the FBI framed him, said that somehow he shot somebody who was trying to take the land of the indigenous people. There shouldn't be a crime for that, but that's another story. But Leonard Peltier, he has to go through this grotesque stuff. He's losing his eyesight. He's got all kinds of health problems, etc. Look at Mumia Abu-Jamal. Mumia Abu-Jamal, 15 years old, he's a leader in the Black Panther Party. And he's been doing work, tried to do work since that time. We know what we are dealing with, this Russia issue, this Russia garbage. And the thing that we would say is that none of us has a Russian last name. The last names we got are from people who presume to own us as human beings. That's why I'm no longer Waller. I'm no longer Waller. That's part of the whole decolonizing process. I reclaim my own identity. You know, I refuse to be identified. I refuse to honor the person who presumed to own us and create all kinds of horrendous brutality and murder and rape and pillage for us. No, 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 no. You're gonna have to live up to your own name. Yeah. Learn how to play basketball. Sing, do your own songs. Raise your own babies. Put seasoning in food. Yeah, you have to get somebody else to do that. Or you can get on the right side of history. Yeah. Doug Tuthill, good to see you, comrade. I just want to holler at Doug Tuthill. We go back some many years, you know. And I want to say that in terms of this Russia question and being in St. Petersburg, Florida, I've lived with this for a long time, as been said. I've been handcuffed in the backseat of a police car right here in this city and clubbed senselessly. I have suffered fire bombings of my home, near starvation of my children, alienation of certainly earlier my oldest children, and just serious kinds of problems. I had my children when they were young, they would say things like they hated Black power because it kept their daddy in jail, you know, because it kept their daddy in jail. And I'm reminded of my mother. Black men of my generation often had serious problems with our mothers because our mothers would beat us and said, I'm going to beat it out before the white man gets you. Yeah. And the whole thing was to try to tame us so that the white man, because they knew the white man would kill us. But without batting an eye, they'd kill us and they wouldn't have to pay a price. And so the mothers took on a substitute slave master. I'm the one who would chase the white insurance man out of the house, who, Bernice, I don't know if you remember this, they would walk in your house without even knocking. These white people walk in your house without even knocking. I'm the one chased them out. And I'm the one who refused to go behind that yellow line on the city buses and sit down. I refused to do that. I'm the one at Webb City, the biggest, most notorious sort of supermarket establishment that was here. That I didn't know they had a third floor restaurant up there because everybody could eat on the first floor at the snack bar standing up. But I found out the restaurant was on the third floor and went up on the third floor to sit down on the third floor to eat. They say, we don't serve your kind. I'm the one who kept doing that to O.B. McLennan, who was one of our most notable English teachers, told me that I need to stop doing because they were going to harm me. They were going to hurt me. I'm the one when the St. Petersburg Times, now called the Tampa Bay Times, conspired to shut down Gibbs High School, Gibbs College, junior college. I'm the one who led that struggle against what they were doing to shut it down. And they used members of the NAACP to participate in that process. You know, I led that struggle. There was no Russian. No Russians were on site. It was what we had to do as Black people in order to advance our struggle that was responsible for that. And my children, yeah, they went through a lot. As a consequence of that. And but my children, I think they've come to understand that were all my children. Now, you know, my children was just the whole African nation. And that meant that I could not and did not do what I think many people think that good fathers should do. And Black preachers would tell me about this and come to my children. They would slander me in the Black community because I'm not taking care of my children, because I'm in jail doing your job, doing your job. So we want to say, go to handsoffuhuru.org. We do want to raise that $5,000. They've destroyed something like $40,000 worth of property when they attacked us. They in terms of damage they did to here, to the Uhuru House, to the Solidarity Center in St. Louis, they stole our computers, cell phones, and things like this. They went up here, wrecked our financial records and stuff like that. They went through all of that stuff. And then we've raised pretty close to $300,000 in legal fees. And what they wanted us to do is to take all the money so that we couldn't do these programs, because that's a problem for them too. Because that's independence. When you can feed, clothe, and house yourself, that's independence. That's against colonialism, and that's what the struggle is about. So we feed, clothe, and house ourselves, and so they want to take us off point. They want to turn us into groveling members of the NAACP or something like that, you know. So that's not who we are. And so please join with us and contribute to this fund that we have to, you know, we'll have to raise a lot of money, because it's going to call us something like what is it? Something like $30,000 for just transcripts during the trial. Is that what I heard, Jesse? Trial expenses, you know, it's going to be a lot of money just for trial expenses, you know, that we're going to be dealing with. And so, but they're up against St. Petersburg, Florida. And like I said, it wasn't St. Petersburg, Russia that sent me out in the world. It was St. Petersburg, Florida. And so we're back, and let's do it, brothers and sisters and comrades. And thank you so much.
You know, this type of scientific analysis, you're not going to find anywhere else outside of the African People's Socialist Party. Join the mass movement if you don't want to join the party, but join the party. If you join Solidarity, join Solidarity. Get the books. Really get in depth and understand, you know, what it is that we're talking about, because the chairman's theory helps today make sense right now. It helps connect you to Africa. Everyone is talking about Africa. Why Africa? Why am I an African? Who am I? Everything is found in the books and in the studies. Even the talk of sycophant. I'm reminded of a quote from the chairman's Little Black Book, which was one of my favorite books. But it was addressing the question of power, talking about racism and why we don't say we're fighting against racism. And he was talking about the power question and said it wasn't just a sycophant. He said that changing the power dynamic will basically turn a racist of today into a fawning sycophant. I never forgot that ever. I mean, I think that adjective, it adds on to there. And this is what you find when you study African internationalism. You're gonna read the books, you're gonna laugh, you're gonna nod, you're gonna have to put it down, you have to reread, it's a study tool. It's like a series of textbooks, and that's something that you need to research. You need to read The Burning Spear. And it's really gonna help understand why and what my place is and who I am. So I wanted to announce our final total is $2,000. And has it been updated?
Oh, I just wanted to make sure we shout out some of those donors.
Yeah, it's $2,000. And we received $200 from Comrade Jesse, $200 from Carla Harris. We got $40 from MQ. Paula supported with $20 and Jerhans with $30. So salute you, comrades. I said somebody just bring us to 2,500 and we could just go home right now. Waiting on you. I want to remind everybody about August 31st. Not One Step Backwards March and Rally. It's in St. Pete. We're going to do that to kick off the trial. We need everybody here. September 3rd is the trial date in Tampa, Florida. That's the start of the Uhuru 3 trial. And we're having a June 27th fundraising webinar for the Black Power 96 radio station. And, it's really the people. We need to have everybody there. They need to see the power of the people. And with that, I'm going to say hands off, Chairman. Drop the charges now. Drop the charges now. We got one more. Oh. Addie, can you come and please help before we close out? We got one more tribute. We're going to get a word from Addie Griffin.
All right.
I think that's important. The lawyer, yeah. Uhuru.
Hello, everybody. How y'all doing? So I hadn't planned on saying anything tonight, but I just wanted to take a moment and tell you all how absolutely honored I am to represent you, Mr. Chairman. I know I've said that before, but it truly is an honor to be here. And as I sat here with all of you and I was listening to the tributes and the comments and the donations and all of your work and the singing, it just struck me that I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. It made me realize that you're all exactly where you're supposed to be. So I just wanted to take a minute and just thank you, all of you. Penny, Jesse, Pile, of course, the chairman, Jim Marengo, but all of you, each and every one of you, for doing all the work that you've done, doing all the work you continue to do, keeping the fight going, continuing to do the work. And really, you need to know that it is an honor to represent you.
Bulletproof.
It's bulletproof. That's great. So thank you all for having us, and it's a pleasure.
Uhuru, and also want to mention that we have a webinar coming up on the 26th, June 26th at 7 p.m. Eastern. It's putting the state on trial. Chairman Omali Yeshitela versus the colonial state. This is being held by the African People's Solidarity Committee.
I was wondering if Naeem's son wanted to say anything. Naeem's.
Uhuru.
Mutaki.
Uhuru.
I'm one of those lawyers that don't like to talk that much. But I want to repeat what Addie said. Like, it's an honor to be a part of this team. When I went to St. Louis, when we went last year, one of the things when I walked away from it, I said, I can understand why the government will want to shut down this party and this movement because of the things that this party is doing. It's a threat. It's a threat to everything that people like us and people like this group are not supposed to do when it comes down to independence, when it comes down to feeding our community, when it comes down to providing our community, and most important, when it comes down to educating our community about not what's in the textbooks, but who we are and who we are as African people. And when you're really educating people about who we are as African people, and you start implementing those African principles and those African ideals, and we're getting out and we're understanding who we truly are, that's a threat to everything that's American, so to speak. And so it's the purpose is not only to shut down the African People's Socialist Party, not only to shut down Chairman Omali, but the purpose is to say, don't come behind him and try to do the same thing. Don't come behind this movement and try to do the same thing. And what we're doing, we're standing up to that. And so we understand that this fight is not just about the Uhuru 3, but this fight is about our future. This fight is about everybody who's going to come behind this and continue this fight. So when I've known about the chairman for years, from Tallahassee, and Dead Prez, of course, is Stickman is from Tallahassee. And so when I started listening to the music, I started, of course, hearing the chairman and his speeches and everything that he spoke about, and following that. And so when I got the call, when Chimaranga emailed me, I think I ignored the first few emails that came through because I just was like, this can't be real. They're asking me to represent somebody from the African People's Socialist Party. But when I finally responded and finally got involved, like Addie said, like I knew this was a movement that I needed to be a part of. And honestly, when I started telling my family and my friends, like, hey, I'm getting asked to be a part of this case, they were worried. They was like, are you sure you want to be a part of this? Seriously. And because like once you attach yourself to certain things, you become just as much of a threat to the government. And what my response was is like, this is the reason why I got my law degree. Like, it's the fight. And if I can't stand up in these types of cases, then there's really no reason for me to have my law degree. So I can guarantee you that me and the rest of the team, we are going to put our law degrees to work. We're going to put all that knowledge, everything that we've learned for the last 20 years, and I met Addie 20 years ago at the Public Defender's Office in Palm Beach. It's a coincidence that we're working on this case together. We're going to put everything that we've learned for the last 20 years into this case because we understand how important it is and how important this movement is. And then we're going to fight like hell. I guarantee it.
We got one more. Chairman's just calling them up now. All right, Uhuru. This is true.
Well, I don't
It's
like
my
to...
party, and I can cry. You're too young for that.
Well, I'm an attorney that doesn't like to speak either. So, but I am honored to be working on this case as well. I've spent my last year going through a lot of computer files and everything of the party and looking at videos, and I'm really impressed by everything that the party has done, and I'm just honored to be here, and thank you for letting me be a part.
Thank you.
Chairman, who you picking on now?
I was picking on Doug Tuck here because he saw me. Where was that Doug at the? What was that sort of bourgeois thing I spoke to? That tiger, yeah. Tiger bait. Yeah. Speaking of. Okay. Got nothing down? There he is.
Hey!
Trying
you knew it was a mistake, right?
Should have stayed in bed.
Yeah.
I'm all speeched out over the years, but I think the thing we've been through a lot. It was a tough time after the killing of Tyrone Lewis. We went through a lot.
Yeah.
And Molly is a tremendous leader, but for me, he was a tremendous human being. And the time that we spent together was it was two people in an adventure, a journey. It was interesting at times. It was brutal. There are lots of things. My wife said, you can never ever tell anybody that you just did that. Maybe after you're dead, we can tell them that, not, going to the police chief's home at 2 o'clock in the morning to let him know what kind of shit was going down inside the department. It was ugly and it was dangerous. But Omali is obviously a born leader. He's a beautiful human being. He was and is a really good friend. And I think for all of us, it's an honor really to be here and to be part of this experience. And I want to thank you for everything. I'm done.
Uhuru.
Can I say one more thing?
Yeah.
We will make $5,000 tonight.
Uhuru. All right, let's chant. Hands off Uhuru. Hands off Uhuru. Uhuru. Is that the closeout? Yeah, we out here.